interestingly enough, I saw little things circulating on Facebook. I saw a bunch of discussions around it.
Right.
But someone had posted, a man can't protect a woman he has no control over. So what's your thoughts on that?
I thought I was making it out of here unscathed.
No, I'm about to throw everything at you.
Say that again?
I'm about to throw everything at you.
Ouch.
So the post was, a man can't protect a woman he has no control over.
Right. I bet that post triggered some responses, right?
It
I might have seen it. I might have seen it, actually. I might have seen that. Yeah. So what do you want from me?
I want your reaction and opinion. What's your thoughts on that?
It depends what you mean by control. Again, I just don't...
Yeah, that was a very triggering word.
Yeah, right. So I wouldn't use control. I wouldn't use control. I would, again, like we said earlier, cooperation, respect, love.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as that.
And so if you're in a situation where you're with a woman, she's your wife, and she respects and loves you, then you're going to run into... It's not that you'll never have clashes, but you're not going to run into an issue where you say something and she's like, I listening to an old man. You won't have that because she respects and loves you, right?
Yeah, if I know I respect you and you're my protector, I'm not going to... when you're out there and something happens, it's a split second, you have to react. So if, the man I'm with says, do this, I'm not going to stop there. Well, why are you telling me to do that? What do you mean? You don't tell me what to do, because it could be a matter of life and death. So if I respect you, I'm going to react immediately.
Right, exactly.
So this really shouldn't be a problem.
No.
I don't know what's...
Yeah.
What problem's being run into.
Yeah. It's a word issue, but I won't deny that you have situations where I just think it's like we said before, the mentalities have been manufactured. So a lot of the so-called arguments that we're having with women, or vice versa, you're having with men that don't even play a role in your personal life.
Yeah.
You're arguing with someone like, you better listen if I'm going to protect you, who you're never going to protect in any way. So what are you arguing with them for? Okay, so some things that are personal, you leave to personal. From a tribal situation now, it really depends. As men, you would consider yourself physically the protectors of the tribe, right? In that way, in that physical way. It's like, okay, if man them are charging at us, we're going to have to charge back, right? So we understand that. But this idea, I just think it's a situation of respect, because if in said situation, you're like, oh, you guys get back, we'll handle this, then women go and get back if they respect and love you. Oh, yeah, all right, you handle this. So you have situations where in your personal connection, if you have the respect and love, then you get through it. And there'll be different dynamics. I've seen situations where I've met women who are like, listen, it's just different beings, right? So I've met women who are like, listen, fight breaks out, you got this, right? And I'm like, yeah, I got this. And I've met women who are like, yeah, I'm down, I'm ready. If this kicks off, I'm throwing hands, right? Who do you need me to get? Should I get the guy? Should I get the girl? They're ready. So you have different types. You have different types of women for different situations. So I just think it just applies to your personal situation. If you are the protector of the relationship and your wife considers you as such, then when the appropriate time comes, you shouldn't have many issues. Certain situations are extreme. People react differently. So we take all of that into account. It's not every day you're running into a life and death situation. So I guess you might not know how you react until you get to a said situation. But in general, if you have the respect, if you have the love, then when the moment comes, they'll listen to you, just like someone else might listen to you that might not be a woman. You might have a situation where you're an older brother. I'm an older brother, right? So if I'm with my younger brother in a situation, something kicks off, what I say to do, he's going to do, because there's respect and love, right? And he understands that because of the hierarchy of who incarnated first, I'm the older brother. And so in said situations, you take heed of my guidance. But it's also a respect thing as well. It's like, okay, yeah, I know that I trust him.
Yeah.
Trust is the other word. Respect, love, trust. I trust him. And
it's
so,
a big one.
yeah, when it kicks off, I'm going to trust him. So it doesn't then become about control or this and that. It just becomes about trust. And so
maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's well, some people, then it's like, just don't deal with these types of people. Some people might express they feel in a relationship, well, I can't tell you nothing. Maybe from a male perspective, they're like, you go here, there, and everywhere. And don't check in with me, or like say, well, I don't need to ask your permission.
Right.
So
Tua.
maybe I see a lot of male frustration in that arena. Like, well, if I don't know where you are, how am I meant to protect you?
Right. Well, what I would say is that if it's a situation where, I speak from a personal point of view, if you are with someone who's moving like that, then for me it depends on the context, to be honest. But for me, then it means that the respect level isn't as high as it could be. Put it that way. So in my situation, again, it's like, I use us as an example, as you're my sister, and until you find that man, which better be some top man. There's not any, yeah, okay. But until that moment, I consider, and we as all your brothers consider your protection one of our highest priorities. So if you just started bouncing and just disappearing, and I got home, I was like, oh, where's she at? Nobody knows. Then it would be like, what's going on? what's happening here? What can we do to ensure her safety? Right? But different people have different dynamics. So that's how we tend to work.
I don't feel like it's a permission thing. It's just like, I would respect you enough to let you know where I'm at. And I think I do look at things in terms of the way I was raised as, I don't know if hierarchy is the word, but certain respects, like certain things I would look to my elders for. Like, I have that level of respect for my father, where I don't think permission, because again, that's a triggering word for a lot of people, but I would say, well, what's your thoughts on this? Can I?
Right.
In the past, obviously, as a child, you're asking permission.
Of course.
But then that relationship develops where it's a kind of a respect thing, where I see you as the person who raised me, took care of me, and I say, I consult you.
Yeah, it's consultation involved, right? And I think the same thing happens when you get into a relationship, and I think it happens both ways. I've seen it plenty of time. You've been in a situation where even as a man, there might be a big decision coming up. You're like, oh, let me see what she thinks. And so I think the consultation, the respect, it happens naturally. I do think in this world, certain ideals are promoted. So Western ideals have women going around all about the place more than other ideals, right? And then other things like man to man, or how early you lose your virginity, or how early you choose your sexual partners, or how many sexual partners you have, so on and so forth. And so when we have, like I mentioned earlier, when we have rules and laws, if you use that terminology, guidelines about this, it's about safety. It's about the being. And if they're utilized in a different way, then they are incorrectly utilized, because you can deal with facts where it's like, okay, when a woman intakes any type of genetic liquids, be it saliva or sperm or so on and so forth, that goes into her system and can stay there for a long time and affect her physical health, her spiritual health, her mental health, so on and so forth. These are facts. But a man might take that and use it for his own means, where he's like, let me bring this in because I've got a personal issue with this particular woman. So that's when it's incorrect. But the facts remain, if that makes sense. So our culture is based on facts and about the health of our people. So I don't disagree that there are certain ideals that are dangerous for us in this Western world. And so you might not want to behave how it's told you should behave by the media, by the movies, and by the TV shows, which are subconsciously programming us to behave a certain way. You might want to disconnect from that and move away from that, if that makes sense. But with all that being said, if you're in a situation and the respect and love is there, naturally, then you won't have too many issues. You'll be able to have conversations about it. It's not that you won't clash, but you won't feel unheard if the respect is there. You won't feel unlistened to. And there should be a conversation, and it should be established that you're her protector if you are such. And thus, the protocol should be followed to allow you to protect her. And if the protocol isn't followed, then you can't protect her, if that makes sense. And what that protocol is exactly might be different from person to person or from relationship to relationship. But if the respect is there, you'll be able to establish what that protocol is. So is that protocol, you tell me wherever you are at every moment, or is that protocol something different, something less intense than that? Is it something okay, slightly looser? Let me know in general what's going on. If you have to make any major trips, whatever it is, you establish the protocol between you two. Okay, and if the respect is there, even if there's disagreements, you should be able to come to some sort of agreement or some sort of common meeting place where you can say, okay, this is what it is. But this idea that there's just going to be women just not listening to you, that means that woman that you can't protect, that's something different. You're arguing with someone who has no direct connection with your life, and even vice versa. You know, I see women arguing with men who will never control you in any shape. They're in the distance. They're over there. They got nothing to do with you. And so, yes, sometimes you want to make your point because the mentality in general, but for your personal situations, it doesn't come to that. The respect, love, and trust is there, and those are things which grow naturally as you meet someone. You like them, you like the way they think, and so on and so forth. Then you'll be alright. You'll be okay. You'll be okay.